Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Foxhead, the Foxy Dreamer here, and how are you guys doing this afternoon? Alrighty then. So we are here with our first technical official video for our YouTube channel. Although, um, I I debate calling this the first or official. Um, Mostly because I have posted to this YouTube channel before, like a handful of videos, but nothing where I'm ever talking. Um. This is not the only thing I'm going to be doing on this channel. It's just something I personally wanted to do. Bearbeard will not be joining me today. Um, for those that are not aware of how this channel is supposed to work, which I would assume is everybody at this moment, but hey, you never know. Um, this is a duo, like, owned account. It will be posted on by me, Foxhead, and my YouTube brother, Bearbeard. Um, Sometimes we're going to be doing stuff together, sometimes we're going to be doing stuff separately. I do believe that these videos of the top 10 things I loved and hated are going to be me exclusive, but you never know. I might be able to talk Bearbeard into it one of these days. He might like the idea. Um, Also, I am sorry for the black screen. I am not exactly the prettiest animal in the world. You probably don't want to be staring at my face, and I don't know editing, so like I can't put anything on the screen for you. So as of right now, black screen, but if this YouTube channel takes off enough, or I can learn how to edit on my own, I can work around it and at least put something on here for you guys to stare at other than darkness. But hey, this allows you to set your phone aside and just listen to a podcast type deal if you'd like. Um, I've already wasted the first 2 minutes of this video rambling just on about the YouTube channel and myself, so we're going to get into the criteria to make my list here. So first of all, I want to say, and I'm going to try to say this at the start of every one of these videos, that these are subject to, like, the topic at hand. So like there's no set rules. For example, let's just say, and this is not something that like is true, but I'm just using it as an example. Let's say I hate Chris McLean, and I decide to include that on the list. You know, the list for the Total Drama Island things I hated about Total Drama Island. Chris McLean's on there. But then Chris McLean not being there for All Stars, even though he's the worst character in All Stars, like that might confuse some people. It's simply because it depends on like what I have to work with. So for like stuff like Total Drama All Stars, Dragon Age: The Veil Guard, um, the Justice League, the Squad killed the Justice League. All prime examples of stuff that would have more bad associated with it than good. But then you've got stuff like Invincible, or Dragon Age Origins, or Dispatch, where like you don't really hear much bad about them, and there's a good reason for that. So it's it all depends on like the subject at hand. That being said, also I do want to point out I will not do one of these videos if I genuinely have nothing nice to say about something, because obviously I do have to come up with 10 things that I loved. Now, loved might be a strong term, but it's the one I'm going with, I guess. Um, I might not necessarily love these things about them, rather than just like them more, just good enough. And I'm primarily saying that just because All Stars, it's not so much loved, so much as this is what makes this season even remotely watchable. But enough about my ranting about Total Drama All-Stars. Here we are, finally into the video, and I'll try to leave a timestamp down below. 5 minutes, 10 seconds into the video, we are about to do the top 10 things that I loved and hated about Total Drama Island. Now, we're going to start off with the loved category first. And just to clarify, these are not in any specific order. So just because something is ranked as number 1 or number 10 does not mean that I liked it any more than the other one. It's just more or less what happened, what order I happened to think of it when I was putting together this list. So moving into number 1 on the loved category, we have characters like Duncan, Heather, Gwen, Courtney, DJ, Harold, and even Chef Hatchet were just absolutely treats to watch. Now, those were not the only examples of characters that I just love to watch in this season, but I mean, if I listed literally every single character that I love to watch in this season, we'd be here for a while. I'm just saying, like, this was a pretty good put together cast. Possibly, and I do say like a strong possibly, the best cast they've put together for a Total Drama series. It's definitely in the top 2, if nothing else. So now we're moving into number 1 on the hated side. We've got some characters just felt super inconsequential. So this is kind of the opposite of my number 1 to Island, whereas there was some amazing characters. Some characters like Eva, Justin, Katie, Sadie, and even Beth just all seem underdeveloped, less cared about, and just overall boring in this season. And I don't hate these characters by any means. Well, except maybe Beth, but that's a personal thing that I'm going to get into on action. So we'll deal with that bridge when we cross it. For now, though, I don't necessarily hate any of these characters. I just feel like they didn't get the proper development that they really needed to actually last in this season or in the series in general. Some of these characters did in fact get some kind of resurgence, or rather, one of these characters got a sort of resurgence, but all the rest of these characters just kind of fell flat. Moving in to number 2 on the love side, we've got the challenges were interesting and fun. Challenges like dodgeball, paintballing, you name it, Total Drama had it all, and it was amazing. I honestly gush over the Total Drama Season 1 challenges to this day, because there's just something so fun about them, and they didn't feel unnecessarily cruel, like in some later seasons. That's about all I have to touch up on that one, so we're going to move into number 2 on the hated side. This season was bad about forced eliminations. Characters like Lindsay, Lashana, and Ezekiel even kind of felt like they just got robbed because the plot needed them to get robbed, and not necessarily for any other reason. Because, Ezekiel literally was helpful to his team and just didn't do anything up until it came down to eliminating DJ or Courtney, which I get. Those are 2 likable characters, and I'm glad that they stuck around. But throwing in Ezekiel's, men are better than women thing literally just seemed like a tacked on reason last minute to get him eliminated. And then with Lindsay, hashtag justice for Lindsay, that's literally all I'm going to say about that one, because I could make this whole video about how Lindsay got fucked, and a part of my language, screwed. And then Lashana. I don't even want to get into how bad Lashana's elimination made. It was bad. It made me so mad. If you haven't seen this elimination, I missed it the first time I watched this season because I skipped the episode that she got eliminated in because I didn't think that anything was gonna happen. And then I came back and I was like, where the fuck is Lashana? Where the frick is Lashana? I've got a cursing problem. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah. So season 2 was really bad about forcing out characters that really didn't feel like it was their time. Um, that was a big pet peeve. Moving into number 3 on the love side, we got Chris McLean was actually a decent host and, kind of not crazy. And the hot tub building challenge, he actually gifted the contestants the hot tub afterwards. Whereas later season Chris would have either, taken it for himself or even worse, filled the thing with lava and, seeing how long it took to deep fry Owen in it. That's kind of a joke, but it's still not terribly far off from the truth. So yeah, I'm glad that we had a normal Chris at one point in time. Moving into number 3, on the hated side, we've got inconsistent character development like Duncan only flirting with Heather in one episode, or Eva having a grudge against Bridget, whom she rarely talked to, if ever. I honestly probably should have rewatched this show like fresh before making this video, but I really, if they interacted, it was so short and simple that it just shouldn't have added up to Eva's amount of anger and hatred for Bridget. That inconsistent character development would unfortunately, come back to play bigger roles in later seasons, and I hate it. Moving into our number 4 pick for the love side, we've got this season didn't mind treating its older fans, because we had bleeped cuss words, we had censored nudity, we had references that like kids just wouldn't get. It made this show feel like more than just a kid show. It felt right. I don't know how else to put it. When a cartoon is not afraid to take its audience serious, case in point, Avatar The Last Airbender, things turn out well. Usually. Can't say all the time, but usually things turn out well. Because, surprise, surprise, kids are a little bit smarter than you think. Moving into number 4 on the hated side, we've got the numerous fart jokes in this season spawned way too many in subsequent seasons. We all got tired of the fart jokes, and unfortunately, Owen, my man, you were the cause of them. You were the father of the fart joke in terms of like total drama. So, congratulations, you made a lasting impression through 8 other seasons than this one, where there's, I'm pretty sure, a fart joke in every single one of them. So I salute you. And also kind of curse you under my breath. But anyway, we're moving into number 5 on the love side. The elimination order was relatively good this season compared to other seasons. Now, I know some of you are probably barking in the comments about like World Tour having the good elimination order or whatnot, and call this prejudice. I know it kind of is, and I don't even care. Any season where Harold is booted out as the third boot of the season is somewhere I'm questioning why, like, what you picked your elimination order for. I know Cody was supposed to be like the poster child good guy for this season, but I would have preferred Harold over Cody. Yeah, I know Cody had a Sierra thing, but honestly, let's see, Era is a topic for the world tour thing, so we're moving on. Um, we've got the I'm on number 5, right? Yeah, number 5 on Hated. Okay, so this one is possibly one of my biggest pet peeves. So again, this is like not in any order. Number 5 is Sadie not being eliminated in the same episode or next episode of Katie, and that's only part 1 of this complaint. Part 2 is and still did nothing with it. She actually did less than nothing. If she did nothing, at least fine. But how did you manage to somehow get worse as a character? It was like when Katie disappeared, Sadie just didn't do anything. She didn't have any character whatsoever. She went from being a bad character to just not being anything. So, yeah, big pet peeve there. Possibly missed opportunity. I don't even care. I feel like either Sadie should have went with Katie or possibly the next episode. So if you wanted to break it up into individual eliminations, sure. Katie went one episode, Sadie went the next. I know that's predictable, but who wanted the few extra episodes with Sadie? Really? Show me the person who voted for that, and I will show you a slap in the face. We're moving on to number 6 in the loved category. That is, the chemistry between Gwen and Trent felt so real, so sweet, and so engaging this season. And unfortunately, that was all undone in the next season. However, it was not undone this season, so it still remains a good thing. Now, we are going to be moving into the number 6 on the hated side, which is the Heather plot armor was thicker than Owen's butt. You cannot tell me that this chick did not have like the most bulletproof plot armor in existence in Total Drama Island. She did everything to kind of put herself as off as the mean girl character. She did nothing to make actual allies, and worst of all, she just always seemed to win immunity when it mattered. She was the essence of plot armor in Total Drama Island. And although I do kind of like the concept of Heather, and the season would not have been as good without Heather just constantly like screwing stuff up for everybody, I still have to put it as a dislike thing simply because it's very clearly plot armor. They had no attempt to make it even look like it was a plot armor. Moving on to number 7 on the love side, we've got the ending was simple yet engaging. It wasn't cheesy like All Stars, and it wasn't boring like Action. It was nice. You got to see 2 competitors that you liked, that you genuinely cared for, play a good game against each other, and one of them, depending on which ending you saw, ended up coming out on top. I honestly can't see anything wrong with this ending. Owen was a good winner, and so was Gwen. Owen a little bit less in my opinion, only because that guy was more likability than he was actual, contestant. But I'll still give it to him. That being said, we are now going to move on to number 7 in the hated category, which is that Eva returned with no character growth and a half-baked reason to eliminate her in the same episode. Now, I suppose you could say her hatred of Bridget was character growth, but if anything, that just moved her backwards. She seemed to pull out a hatred of somebody out of nowhere, and at least when she flipped out the first time and got eliminated, she had a genuine reason for for it. She thought that somebody had stolen her iPod or whatever. And, like, cool. Like, at least she had a genuine reason for it, but this return thing, it just made no sense. Possibly one of the worst returning characters that they've ever had in Total Drama. I just personally think it was a bit of a waste. If they were going to bring Eva back, they should have had her do some character development where maybe she was struggling with anger management, or maybe where she's even more of a loose cannon and not just like she's targeting like individual person, but like she's just targeting everybody because her game got screwed up. I don't know. There were a lot of better ways to handle Eva, and they just didn't take them. So unfortunately, that's on my disliked list. We're going to move on to number 8 on the love side, which is the Boat of Losers was arguably the best removal from the island that they had. Because I don't count the limo or the airplane because I did specifically say removal from the island, which means I'm only counting the gimmicks from seasons 1, 4, 5, 6, and then depending on if you count the Redonkulus race as 7, which I do, then 8 and 9. Which, also, I am not counting the Redonkulus race eliminations either. So, no action, no Redonkulus race, no World Tour. The Boat of Losers is better than the rest of those eliminations. That's a personal opinion, but I mean, most of this is, so there you have it. We're going to move on to the number 8 of my disliked list, which is Cody was a bit of a creeper in season 1. Now, this one I kind of had to reach for. This is one that, like, it's not so much of a put off, but it could be to some people. Whether we want to admit it or not, Cody was a bit of a creeper when it came to Gwen in the first season. Between, just kind of randomly sniffing her hair, always putting the moves on her, and then being way too eager to try to help with, Trent. I get, trying to help out a girl or whatever, but at this point, the dude literally seems so desperate for her approval that it's not even funny. And then, of course, he brings that same energy back, but, not as bad or creepy in World Tour. So, with that being said, I think that just in Season 1, he was a bit more of a creeper than he needed to be. And I'm just going to leave it at that. In number 9 on my love side, we've got No Mutant Shenanigans. Again, I'm not going to say too much about this one because I don't feel like I really need to. Obviously, I feel like the show is much better without, the toxic waste angle or the mutants or even whatever the fuck Ezekiel turned into at the end of World Tour. I just think the show is better without it, so props to Season 1 for actually just kind of keeping to the theme of being a reality show. We're going to move into number 9 of my hated list, which is characters like Noah and Tyler felt like they had left too early, despite having so much potential. Noah could have easily become either a villain like Heather or one of the, reluctant hero types. And Tyler would have been a good, funny, comedy relief character to have around. Obviously, he probably wouldn't have made it too much further. But I do feel like, I'm pretty sure he was eliminated 5th, and that was just too early. Tyler was so much better than that. He deserved to at least have made it, 10 eliminations in, I'd say. So, now we're going to move into my final one of my loved list, which is the transition into Season 2 was handled masterfully, and it showed off some forgotten characters and gave them some character development, like Justin and Ezekiel. I loved them in the extra episode that kind of like led up to season 2 being made. It actually helped make them characters instead of just like early on eliminations with no personalities. It's also the episode that really made me feel bad for Ezekiel, because with that episode, I thought he had potential for a second run in the game. He'd grown as a person a little bit, and I honestly, I don't know what it is about Ezekiel. I always did kind of like him. So I was looking forward to him getting another shot, only for him to not even get an appearance in action and then to be the first elimination again in World Tour. And after that, it was just bad. We're not going to talk about that though, because that's another video. We are moving into my final piece of my hated side now, and that is not so much a hated thing, just again, kind of like the Cody thing, it's me more reaching for something than anything, and that is that Izzy felt more like a reoccurring gimmick than a camper. And that's all I got to say. I could elaborate more on that, but honestly, I didn't even feel like 100% confident putting that as a hated thing. This season didn't do a whole lot to make me upset with it, and I had already covered most of those things like earlier on. I could have broken those up into multiple things. I decided to go this route, so I just kind of went with this for filler, so that's why I'm not touching too much up on it. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy the list. I will be doing more stuff like this. I'll be doing one for Total Drama, Action, War Tour, Revenge, All Stars, blah blah blah. I'm also going to be doing this for games like Dragon Age the Veilguard, Mass Effect Andromeda, really just about anything I can kind of think about. If there are some of these that you would like to see, and I have not listed it, or you just don't think that I would hit on it, but you think I would be interested in making it, you can comment that down below, and I can make a list of that. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. I hope you have an awesome day. Just try to remember peace, love, and Pokemon. And I'm going to try to change the last word every time I do that. So that's gonna be fun. Hasta la pasta. See you later. Have an amazing day. Quickly before I hop off of here, just because every YouTuber seems to do that, especially nowadays. If you want to drop a subscribe, that's free. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna come hunt you down if you don't subscribe. But if you are into these types of videos, if you want to see more content like this, or if you're just so nice of a person that you actually want to help me out with the subscription, then you can hit that red subscribe button. A like would also be appreciated, although not, not trying to force you. Just if you did genuinely like this video and you want to see more like it, you can hit a like, you can hit that hype button, you can share it, like anything to help out would be really appreciated. This is a fledgling YouTube channel, so it's going to need a little bit of help, love, and support to take off. Hopefully next time I do a video, Bearbeard will be here to help me do some narration. Until then though, hasta la pasta, see you later. I know I've already done my outro, but I'm actually hopping off this time. Hasta la pasta.